that atmosphere. Just, I said death sentence, and it really is. How do you walk into Lavell Edwards Stadium like it was on Saturday and win a football game no matter who you are? And I think my first question for anybody at Baylor would be, is it like that every Saturday? Was this some kind of rarity, or is this just BYU day in, day out?
It was certainly special. I wouldn't say every Saturday was that, but it's closer than you'd think to that. Having a top 10 team come in, a P5 champ, a team that BYU lost to last year, the home opener,
Yeah.
the last year of independence, the excitement around the Big 12, having Brett Yormark in town, a year almost to the day, within 1 day of when BYU got – it was actually a year from the invite to the Big 12. And last year, BYU had a similar vibe against Utah where it was trying to snap the 9-game losing streak and rush the field, and it's crazy. Yeah, there was. I mean, it's similar to that every week, but it's not that crazy every seat. So I mean, when you're playing, Utah State on a Thursday night, you're just not going to have like every seat filled. But hopefully you do for Utah State. And BYU fans are awesome, and you saw that last night. I expect, and especially when BYU's real good, listen, they're there. And this is the thing where it's like, can BYU beat Oregon and now you're in the playoff combo? Like, again, I don't believe BYU is going to the playoff. I would love a New Year's Six at some point for BYU or expanded playoff. It's so hard to have just one loss or zero. Like, well, BYU did in 84. BYU didn't play anybody in 84. Like, they played third-ranked Pitt. They end up 3-7-1. You need some of the good teams to stink. Maybe Notre Dame is a 8-4 team, and it's more winnable as opposed to like a 10-2 Notre Dame or whatever. But it's a fun atmosphere, man. BYU fans are fantastic. They get up, and not an ounce of liquor, and still all that energy, right?
Wild. Unbelievable. And also a rustic complex, too. It's almost as if, and I know a lot of the BYU administration talked about how going to McLean Stadium and being in Waco really helped give an idea of what they want Lavell Edwards to look like as they continue forward with these new upgrades. So you got a taste of, I'm walking through the concourse thinking like, wow, this is like back in time football, and you walk out on the field.
1982.
Yeah, it just screams it. It's all concrete. The bathrooms, like no dividers between the urinals. You're just like, oh, okay, this is
it's like a horse trough.
Yeah, this is not 2022 anymore. And then you go into the press box or the facilities, and they're first class with the mountains in the background too. Just felt like everything that you
hard
could
to beat
think
the
of.
view.
Oh, so tough. Even with the Idaho wildfires that were pumping smoke all over the state of Utah, and however funky that was, you still got just a quintessential college football, especially early season college football too. It doesn't get much better than that. And atmosphere, all things put together. You mentioned though, neutral site. If these two teams played, I mean, those 14 penalties, 5 false starts. You don't false start 5 times as you're at home. That just doesn't happen. That was indicative of BYU's noise. Blake Shapen's told folks after the game, I just couldn't hear. I couldn't hear anything. And you box in a young quarterback like that, things don't go your way, and you lose a game still in double overtime. At a neutral site, what gives you confidence this game is even closer or even goes the other way?
Can it be closer? I mean, that was like as close as it possibly could have been, right? It was basically one play. BYU scored a touchdown, double OT or not. I mean, in regulation, BYU's about to win that. They miss a field goal. And so who knows on a neutral field, but you'd think that really pushed BYU over the edge. And it was a knife's edge. On a neutral field, maybe Baylor wins this by 3 or 7. I don't know. But the penalties certainly make you think, hey, BYU took advantage of that. And the motivation of being at home and I'm looking forward to, hey, and maybe they do play a neutral site in Arlington in the future. Like that could be a thing, neutral-ish, because it's still in Texas. But a few hours away. So who knows? Next year's not that year for BYU. The Cougars expect to be very good this year and lose some real talent to the NFL. And so it's maybe in 2 years. How about that?
I have a weird feeling that Baylor will be right back in Provo next year. It's probably just my bias that I want them to be back in Provo. But with BYU coming in, and there's no guarantee that your schedule will stay. Hey, they'll keep the rotation. BYU comes to Waco. It just feels like it always works out. You go the same place 2 years in a row when realignment hits in a weird way. And I would love to do it. I hope it's the case. And the atmosphere, all that plugged in. The moment it gets down to BYU drives the field goal set up, and not a chip shot, but you're thinking, all right, let's pack it up, make sure all the trash is empty, and hit the elevator in the press box.
I'd composed my tweet already. Yeah.
Right. You're sitting there in the box as well, like getting ready for what's Sataki going to say post game, and then you get missed field goal. What's going through your mind? What did you say? Is that one of the crazier endings that even you've seen at any game with Lavell Edwards?
Yeah, no, that was up there because Jake Oldroyd is a kid that is money. I mean, he made BYU's first 50-plus yarder in 2019, and the first time in 13 years. Like long field goals aren't a thing at BYU, and this dude made like 10 of his first 11 in 2019, and then 2020 is lights out. It's like I don't know what happened, but it was crazy. And Jaren Hall, hugging him at the end, that was an image that people saw on ESPN. Extremely emotional. I talked to Jaren yesterday for a segment on BYU TV, and Jaren said, Jake would have done the same for me. And he's going to make a ton of kicks for us to help us this year, which is so true. But yeah, that was crazy. I thought BYU blew it twice. I thought there's no way BYU still wins this game.
Yeah.
And amazingly, they did. They got a stop in double OT.
Somebody said the same thing. They looked at me and said, no, never has the team missed the game-winning field goal and won the game. They set up for the second game-winning field goal like a broken record. And sure enough, find a way to pull it off in the end. Students rushed the field. Kalani Sitake post-game was a treat to listen to. That aside, Kalani Sitake, man, isn't that guy awesome?
He is one of the best people ever. And he is so fun. I mean, sometimes, like, on the coach's show, he's like, monotone, keeping it, and he doesn't want to give it. That's from the school of Kyle Whittingham, because he is a disciple of two people. One is Lavell Edwards, obviously, having played for Lavell, all-timer, one of the greatest coaches ever. And then two is Kyle Whittingham, who is a disciple of Lavell as well. You know, you kind of come from that tree, having been the defensive coordinator up at that school up north for about nine years. So, or 10 years. So he doesn't always give it away, but Kalani is one of the funnest people ever. And he is super likable. He is one of the greatest recruiting assets BYU has because people want to come play for him. And there are people who go elsewhere, like local guys, get a taste of that life, and then they'll come back and go, I actually want to be home and be beat by BYU. Kingsley Suamatia from Oregon is one of those. Puka Nacua is one of those. And there are guys that come and influence the program. Samson Nacua from Utah last year helped. And so, yeah, it's an amazing atmosphere. He's the first Tongan head coach in FBS ever. He's one of only two Polynesians. Both happen to be members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Ken Niumatalolo at Navy as well. So it's wild, man. We live in a day where BYU, and especially given what happened a couple of weeks ago with Duke, is BYU's got a Tongan head coach and it's got a black quarterback. Yeah. And it's a new amazing BYU that is doing great things and loving and learning and trying to reach out in that way.
Well, I think we've encapsulated all that there is with both BYU and Baylor for this weekend, especially. Moving forward, though, Jarom, to leave things off, from what you've seen out of Baylor, Dave Aranda, Jeff Grimes, Eric Mateos, the offensive, defensive lines, Siaki Ika, who you guys are super familiar with, is it a team, in your opinion, that you still think has a shot at the Big 12 title?
Yes, it will depend on Blake Shapen, obviously, and figuring out who are our running backs. Like, are they going to, from a Baylor perspective, can we get this done? Tyquan Thornton's not there. Who are we throwing it up to, right? Who's going to make a play here? Is staying healthy and getting him in position to win. Jeff Grimes, good play caller. Like, that defense is tough. Like, that was a very good BYU offensive line, and it was hard yards. And it took a fifth-year senior quarterback in Jaren Hall, who has been waiting 3 years to be the guy and played 7 Power 5s, won 6 of those last year, to be at home to win that game. And now BYU flies up the charts. That's the respect of Baylor, of beating Baylor, is BYU goes from 21 to 12. Baylor's still right there. Like, Oklahoma State's doing their thing. They're always like good to very good. Are they ever really great? It's interesting to see, are they going to make that jump, or is it going to be the new Pac-12 where everyone eats their own? Oklahoma certainly is a very good team. Dylan Gabriel's interesting because he's a good quarterback. Is he a great quarterback? Is he as good as the others? Like, a lot of pressure there. I like Baylor's chances. I really do. And maybe you have two teams that have 2 losses in league in the title game. Like, I don't think anyone goes unscathed. 1 loss feels like that'd be pretty hard to go through. And looking at all the numbers, because we we do a Big 12 plus 4 power ranking every Monday. We call it the completely unbiased version.
Yeah.
We feel like there are so many teams in the top 40 where it's like, no game's easy. Ask West Virginia.
Yeah.
Just somehow lost by 13 in OT to Kansas because of a pick six. That was a crazy finish, by the way. I was like, how do you win by more than one score in OT? It's because you pick six or you stupid score. That was wild.
And the swagger for Kansas to take that ball back, all put together. Just what a weekend in general. That was
when
that
your
was
name's
it.
Kobe Bryant, you do that.
Yeah. Kansas wins on the road. Notre Dame, Texas A&M, all of it put together. Baylor BYU was just the icing on that cake to end the evening.
The whole country was watching too. How about that?
Did you see the most views of a night game since 2016? I think.
Yeah, 2.4 mil. And this is BYU's spot in ESPN's programming, and they will stay that way in the Big 12, by the way. Like that is that 9:20 Central kick, that is BYU's spot. They will almost always have that. Now in 2019, BYU had a couple afternoon games against USC and Washington where BYU was very interesting, and they wanted that kind of, hey, bring in the Skycam, bring in the ABC ESPN split. But the 9:20 Central time is BYU's bread and butter with ESPN.
It is Big 12 after dark, much more entertaining than
baby.
Arizona State and Stanford. Thankfully, we've got the Big 12 after dark now with BYU. Jarom, for all the Baylor fans that are now quasi-BYU fans, I actually added that to my Twitter bio, part-time BYU fan. For at least
That's hilarious.
For all of those out there, either Baylor fans or BYU fans that want to find more of your work, where can they go? Where can they find your stuff?
Yeah, check out BYU TV. We're excited to have Baylor featured in all kinds of sports, in the future with women's soccer, women's volleyball, baseball, softball, and so on, gymnastics. Of course, men and women's basketball. BYU TV, BYU Sports Nation is our daily show Monday through Friday on BYU TV and BYU Radio on demand as well. So, yeah, check it out. We couldn't be more excited to be in the Big 12 next year. It's going to be so much fun.
Well, to everybody out there, thanks for making Locked On Baylor your first listen every single day, especially with Jarom on today. A great insight on Baylor and BYU. Come back tomorrow. We're not talking about Texas State yet because nobody really cares yet. It's all about Baylor and BYU all this week and trying to break it down the rest of the way.
Okay.
We'll get to Texas State like 5 minutes before kickoff. Hopefully the team's not overlooking them as much as Locked On Baylor is. But this has been, as it always will be, come back tomorrow, Locked On Baylor.